Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallInVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallInVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallInVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallInVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com. You went, you served, and forged the relationships that only being baptized.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to National Racing Network. We are here in my home country tonight. Yes, we are over in England, and we are here at the fantastic Thruxton circuit here in Hampshire, a lovely part of the world down south of England, just a stone's throw from Stonehenge. It is the Tuesday Night Thunder series. It is the Shock series here for TNT, and well, it's going to be an exciting one. We are looking forward to this. It's round 4 of the series number 9 as well. And well, for the first time coming over here at Thruxton, if you're not familiar with the track, we'll go through some of the details with you shortly. It's basically a giant oval, a bit like the classic Silverstone circuit. Track length 2.32 miles. We're looking at a relatively warm and sunny day here, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temperature 94 degrees Fahrenheit. A little bit of west in a southwesterly direction, with around about 8 miles per hour gusts coming through. Cloudy conditions as well, so that's going to help keep the track hopefully a little bit cooler, help the drivers with those rear tyres. Thruxton, as we said, a fantastic little track here. We're going to be running as normal with the 3 sets of tyres and the 55% fuel ratio. It is open setup as well, not fixed setup. Sorry, we have the wrong bit up there. But Thruxton was a former Royal Air Force base back in the 1940s, opened in 1942, originally flying out many fighter wings and home to the 389th Fighter Squadron, 390th and the 391st Fighter Squadrons of the USAAF. It turned into a race circuit in the 1950s for motorbikes, and then cars joined in a couple of years later, and eventually it found its current stage in the 1970s, and it is the place where we absolutely adore, a fantastic fast sweeping track. We're going to try and get a lap with qualifying, so we'll wait until we go into qualifying to get a full lap, and we'll talk you through the full course here at Thruxton. About 30 seconds remain of the practice session. While we've got that going on, though, we'll quickly run through the championship standings and bring up those points to just get an idea of what's going on. It's James Watson in the lead with Jason Miller sitting in second. Stephen Thompson sits in third. Brian Labarge in fourth. Fifth is Tristan Vorston. Wes Shear in sixth position. Joint seventh, we have Simon Fell and Victor Aldrich. Drew Bernardi in ninth, and 10th is Peter Donchek. So the championship is very much up for grabs, but James Watson doing well at the moment. Big off there for one of the drivers. Just so good. You can see just how easy it is to make a mistake here. Just got a little bit on the grass and kicked him off to the infield, off towards the airfield he goes on to number 12 runway and manages to get that car slowed down and back on track. Qualifying now coming up. If you are new to the series, well, first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining us here tonight. But qualifying is a 2-lap average. So we've got Drew Bernardi on screen. We might jump to him and get an idea of the track layout. Give him his chance to get the warm-up lap done, get the car out on track, and you don't want to be running wide there this early on. Don't want to be getting too much debris and detritus on those tyres. You just want to get the car around to get these opening salvo started. Of course, the fantastic USF 2000 car running here, 275 horsepower. It's very close to the Dallara F3 cars of the mid-2000s, and similar pace as well to the Dallara F3 cars here at Thruxton. So we'll be looking at around about 1 minute 6 seconds for a very fast lap. Speeds are going to be getting up to about 150 down the back straight here. It is a very fast circuit. Coming in to start the lap, this corner here is one of the closest to Stonehenge, as we mentioned before, and is the places. Drew Bernardi just loses it. We might jump on board with another driver here. Let's see who we've got with us as we jump on with Wes Shear, coming into the first corner here, through Allard down towards Campbell. This tight right-left chicane. Want to get the entry just right. Don't want to run too wide. Left through Cobb, up towards the Seagrave. A fast right-hander, just a little bit of a lift into there. You don't want to full throttle because it's very easy to lose the rear. Now along the Noble, you say straight, not that straight. Left-hander, tightening into Goodwood, the right-hander, where you're going to need to just lift a little bit to get the car through. Feels like you can do it flat, but you just have to lift off a little bit to get through this long sweeping corner, through Village, very shallow corner up to Church. This right-hander can be taken flat out. You want to make sure the tyres are up to temperature. Don't want to get too far on that curb. On to the Brooklands back straight now. Long straight, getting up to 155 miles per hour. Brake late into the club chicane. Getting on the curbs, take a nice entry through there, and on to the start-finish straight we go. And that is a lap of Thruxton, a absolute classic circuit. As we said, very similar to the old days of Silverstone. Very, very fast indeed, but brings some really good racing, and, well, is just a really exciting place to watch some racing indeed. Just looking at the times at the moment, we'll wait for these second laps to come in, and we'll see who manages to get up onto pole position. But it is looking good at the moment for Shear, managing a decent lap here and just keeping the car under control. This second lap, you've got to be cautious of the tyres getting a little bit hot, especially when you're pushing in a qualifying pace. Can be very easy to lose the rear of the car and find yourself spinning out. Watch out for those edges of the track as well. This place can get quite slippery and will catch you out very, very quickly. You'll find yourself on a long slide across the grass towards the infield or towards a barrier. Coming through club one more time. It's a deceptive corner because the brake markers are for turn number 10, not the chicane themselves. But across the line, Shear goes and pops him into second place, just behind Brian Labarge. I say second, it's gone to third as James Watson takes pole with a 1:07.449. Currently the fastest 2 laps out there, as we watch and see who else we've got on track at the moment, as Drew Bernardi is looking. Peter Donchek is keeping out there, seeing what he can do. A 1:10 as the cars come circling through. And the last 30 seconds of this session comes to a close in the near future. Very different style of racing, of course, the good old track racing, but this place is, it's basically an oval with a couple of chicanes. It really does have some experience in fast cornering, but it is a very different skill set to master, and, well, it's a track that really can catch you off guard and will bite if you make a mistake. We've seen some big crashes down at that section, the club corner. Pit entry as well is something that they just have to be cautious of too. It's very easy to get caught up in an incident there on the pit lane entry. So off to the start we come, and we will run through the starting positions for all of our drivers here in Tuesday Night Thunder, of course, brought to you over here on National Racing Network. It is taking pole, James Watson up in front, taking that pole position in the TWR car. He is sitting beside Brian Labarge. On row number 2, we got Wes Shear and Simon Fell. Row number 3, we'll see Victor Aldrich and Michael Long lining up next to each other. On row number 4, we got Peter Donchek with Nia Camaro. And rounding out the field tonight is Drew Bernardi, as they get ready to do their pacing lap, and will come through and we'll get ready to start this race off and get the action underway. And James Watson already trying to get some temperature in those tyres. So it's going to be crucial to sort of get this car warmed up and ready for the start of this race, but you don't want to get it too hot too early, and you don't want to be finding yourself not with brake temperature coming into this section of the track. It's very easy to snag a brake and find yourself locking up and going across the grass and the infield, losing yourself a lot of time. So we get the cars coming through and get to enjoy this beautiful day here in Hampshire. It does actually shine, the sun does shine in England, much to many people's disbelief, but yes, there is some good weather in England. There's about 5 days a year of it, and you occasionally see blue skies and sun. Mostly though you see clouds. Luckily though, it's not going to be any rain for this race, as I'm sure everybody will be breathing a sigh of relief for that one. This place is treacherous when it is raining. 50-minute race tonight, which will probably take us about 49, 50 laps. About 45 laps, I reckon, for tonight. So we'll see how many laps we can get underway tonight, and it's just going to be keeping yourself out of trouble in the early stages. Of course, they will need to come in for fuel during the race, and that's going to be a crucial time for tyres as well. Tyre wear will be heavy here. Heat is going to be the main problem, but the tyres will wear. Those front tyres are going to be taking an absolute hammering through those fast corners, and that can really chew off the tread of these slick shod cars. You'll find yourself in an unenviable position dropping down the pack if you do really chew up those tyres, and could even possibly see a puncture if somebody wears it down too quickly and doesn't come in fast enough. Pace car coming in to club now, and it will peel into the pit lane. James Watson will be leading the pack away here as we go for round 3 of the Thunder Series. Here in Thruxton, the green flag drops and we are away. A good start there for James Watson, leading ahead of Brian Labarge, where Shear gets a good run down the inside of Labarge through Allard and moves himself up. But this is going to be the opportunity for Labarge to get that position back in to Campbell. He does it, just gets himself back up into second place. Good little battle there at the start. Going to want to try and get yourself up those positions early. Following another car here can get a little bit tricky. Clean air could be crucial for these drivers, although going down the Brooklyn Straight, it is going to be Draft City there. You're going to get a lovely tow from the car in front of you, and that could prove to be absolutely crucial for an overtake as they come through, moving their ways forwards in this race. It's James Watson in the lead, Brian Labarge, Wes Shear, Simon Fell, Victor Aldrich, Peter Danchek, Nick Maho, Michael Long and Drew Bernardi. It's our 9 drivers out here at the moment. but it is James Watson in the lead, getting a great start once again. Can Labarge chase him down and close that gap, not just in this race, but in the championship as well? Completed the first lap under our belts, and now it's going to be just settling in. Is a bit wide there for Labarge, manages to keep it in position. Nia Kamaho moving up into sixth position, working way up through the field. Nice move there from the 59. I wonder if there was a little mistake in front of him with Peter Donchak, just getting caught unaware there going into the first corner. Nice move indeed. Everybody just sort of keeping themselves nice and sort of positioned at the moment. Nobody's too close. They're just going to want to keep themselves in the draft here, keep themselves in the tow from the car in front. If they lose that, it could really hurt them. Just looking back at where's Shear here, he's getting up to about 260 kilometers per hour in that tow, really getting some speed up when they're following a car in front of them. And that's just going to be a good opportunity for Club. It's probably going to be one of the best overtaking spots of the night, because there is that heavy braking zone, and it will be crucial to get that one right. Looking here, Drew Bernardi here. He's had a bit of an incident. He's seen him lose a fair bit of time. We're going to go back and catch the replay now and figure out what's happened. And big spin just coming out of where were we? Just coming out of Goodwood, I think it was. Just caught the curb a little bit, caught the grass on the outside. Luckily missed the marshal post just by a whisker. So the 86 will continue on here. We'll just have to readdress, get themselves back into the race and get themselves back in track. Just behind, Shear is really closing up on Labarge now. This is going to be a good opportunity for the 16. Gets the draft, looking to go round the outside of Club. Tries to go down the outside, which will turn into the inside. Doesn't quite make it this lap, but this is probably the battle to watch at the moment. Some really good racing close on track at the moment. Labarge, Shear, and Simon Fell keeping himself in contention here too. So all of these cars, the top four, are nice and close together. Any little mistake will find them losing a position very, very quickly. As Watson continues in the lead, and it's just going to be trying to force that driver in front of you to watch their mirrors, just run a little bit wide and take advantage of that, as we see them getting back through these sweeping corners of Goodwood and Church, and they will be back on to the straight again. And if we jump on board the 16, we'll get an idea of the speed in the tow here as they go down this long straight. And they really do close up quite quickly. Once you get into that slipstream of the car in front, it really helps close the gap. Just got to try and be later on the brakes coming into Club, and that's not an easy thing to do. Taking that curb nicely, getting through the corner. 16 is just dropping off a little bit now, but keep himself in contention. Labarge is closing in on Watson now, so this could be an opportunity for Labarge to get that little bit closed up and get himself in a position to try and make a move. Runs a little bit wide going into Campbell there, and that could cost a little bit. It's going to cost a tiny bit of time because this section is now pretty much flat chat. Might do a little tiny lift going through Goodwood just to keep the car settled. Can't quite take this corner flat out, but if you can carry the speed through here, you can really close the gap heading through Church, which is pretty much flat out in these cars. While they're heavy on fuel, though, they might just struggle a tiny bit. As the fuel lightens, it's going to become easier and easier. Down the straight we go again, closing the gap once more. But that accordion motion will happen once more as we get through the corner. They all close up nice and tight, and then we'll start to stretch out again a little bit. Absolutely close fighting here, though, for the top four. Some good driving going on. A little bit further back, Nia Kamaho is having a good run, moving up 3 positions now. Find themselves up into 5th spot now in the race in the 59. Good to see Kamaho moving through the pack, our Brazilian representative. and moving his way through the pack and up past Victor Aldrich there, getting a nice move done on them towards the tail end of the last lap. So some really good fighting going on throughout the pack, and we are seeing some overtakes here and then. Can Aldrich readdress this one? Get himself back past Kamaho, or can Kamaho use this nice little bit of clean air in front of him to try and close the gap on the leaders and get it into a five-way fight up at the front of the pack? We'll soon find out with that one, I'm sure. Aldrich keeping a good close position there, runs nice and wide through Church. That's going to help with the speed, carry a little bit more speed down Brooklands, and could be the opportunity into Club. Looks about thinking about making the move, not quite close enough there, and just has to slow down. And just being slightly offline there cost Aldrich a little bit of time through that chicane, and will lose him a little bit of time down the, well, I'll say the front straight. It is a very short front straight here as you head into Allard. Meanwhile, back up the front of the pack, still Watson in the lead with Labarge, Shear and Fell. Still relatively close to each other. About 2 seconds is the gap between these four cars. So any little mistake here will punish you hard and find yourselves dropping at least a couple of positions or out of this little pack here that has formed. Watson is breaking away a little bit. He's got about a second over Labarge, which could be crucial. If he can break the toe behind him, could start running away here and building a gap towards that crucial pit stop. Labarge just having to watch in the mirrors, a little bit of a lock-up through the midsection there, and this is going to be an opportunity for Shear coming up towards Allard again. Can they make it work? Not quite this time. Following into Allard, the front wing will lose a little bit of downforce. That's going to make you run a bit wide, scrub a little bit of speed off, but closest they've been for a fair few laps here. The 8 and the 16 are going to be fighting. Labarge just running wide again. I'd say some tyre temperature creeping in here for Labarge. Just can't get it quite positioned as needs be in the number 8. This has really closed the gap. Shear in the 16 right on the gearbox of Labarge, putting him under pressure here. This section is going to be crucial. If you can keep speed through these fast sweeping corners, not lose too much pace with that lack of downforce you get when you're following a car so close, this will be an opportunity. Through Church they come, and this will be the opportunity as Shear jumps out of the slipstream, getting himself into a position where he can get up the inside, heading into Club. Late on the brakes goes Shear, gets the position. Labarge will have the inside, runs through the Club section. That's probably going to garner him a slowdown penalty, and that will be Shear taking that position. And what did I say about one small mistake costing you a couple of tenths and a position here? It's just happened to Labarge. Can Fell pounce on that opportunity? Doesn't look like it just quite yet, but Shear up into second place. This battling has dropped him off the lead. They're about 2 seconds now from James Watson. A little bit further back in the pack, a great battle still going on between Aldrich and Kamiho. Those two fighting well with each other, and every time I glanced at the timing sheets, they've swapped a position. So they are having a good little battle down here in the pack, and Michael Long in the 21 closing in a little bit here too. Meanwhile, up the front, Labarge has just made a big mistake going off the track, similar to what we saw with Drew Bernardi earlier on in the race. Just runs a bit wide, catches the grass, manages to save it, but that's just lost him position to Simon Fell. Off to the replay here. Just going to run a little bit wide through the corner and just doesn't quite get the car positioned right. Gets onto the grass on the exit, spins the car around. Super safe by the number 8. Absolutely great job saving that car, because I thought it was going to go around completely. Manages to keep it back on the gas. Gets the car back under control, heading down towards Village, and continues on in this race. We've had a pit stop with Drew Bernardi coming in to the lane. An early pit stop here for the numbers 86, and we'll see how that one pans out. Has dropped him down into a little bit of traffic just ahead of Michael Long there. So Bernardi a lap down but has made his pit stop crucially, and this could be enough to get him to the end of the race without another stop. So it could be a strategic move here. See Long just going around Bernardi there, Bernardi not getting himself too much in the way. Meanwhile, up the front, Simon Fell is back under pressure from Labarge, and Labarge is ruining that earlier mistake and wants to get that third place back, get himself back up on the podium for this one. Fell is not looking to drop that spot though, will not want to lose that position and will want to stay up there in P2 for this race and find himself on the podium here at Thruxton to enjoy a little bit of champers. James Watson up in front, still about 2 seconds ahead of Shear. Watson absolutely flying at the moment, and once again, the man to beat in this car is absolutely been a monster in the Pro 2000 this season and has been the driver to beat. Wasn't too confident coming into this round, but was it a bit of sandbagging perhaps? Just trying to give the other drivers some confidence, because so far in this session has been a great job from Watson. Meanwhile, Labarge has managed to get up past Simon Fell, moving for position. A beautiful move going into club and manages to get himself up into third place. Let's see if we can catch the replay of this one. Just takes that a little bit later on the brakes, gets that crucial inside line for the first part of the corner and gets himself up into position. That slipstream really coming into effect. Can Simon Fell use that to his advantage now and get back up into third position? Has dropped off a little bit, but could absolutely make that move back and find himself back up into a podium position. The top four have spread out a little bit now as the race continues. 36 minutes in here, about 30 odd laps remaining. We've completed about 12 laps so far in this race, so we will be expecting pit stops probably in about 10 or so laps, I'd say. We might be seeing some early pit stops. We'll keep an ear out and an eye out for all of that. While we keep our ears and eyes open for any chance of pit stops, just looking a bit through the field again, and you can see the battle between Fell and Labarge is still carrying on. Fell once again getting closer now and closing that gap nicely on to Labarge. And these two are trying to close in on Shear, who's got up about 2 seconds himself over this group of cars. So managed to build a bit of a gap while these two were battling away and having a bit of a fight here in this stage of the race. Just looking through the field, it looks like Drew Bernardi's pulled the car in, unfortunately. Trying to see if there's any reasoning for that. He's had a bit of a moment going into club. I don't know if Kobe could find the replay of that one. Rear tyres got a bit too hot, back end slipped around, and then made a bit of a mistake coming into the pit entry with those hot rear tyres and damaged the front suspension of the 86. Unfortunate for him indeed, but just shows how easy it is to make a mistake in one of these absolutely stellar little race cars. Here's the replay here, just behind Peter Donchek there, just gets a little bit wide, goes offline, gets on the dirt and spins it around and has too much tyre temperature, goes to go into the pit lane, and the back end will not stick with those melty, horrible tyres, and unfortunately that might be race over for Bernardi. Shame to see it over so early. Keep an eye if he does manage to bring it back out. Currently it's James Watson up in the lead. Wes Shear, Labarge, Fell, Aldrich, Camijo, Michael Long. As Michael Long actually makes a bit of a mistake. Curse of the commentator kicking in here for Michael Long, unfortunately. Sorry to the 21. Just as I go to look at him, going through Cobb. Going through Seagrove, just had a bit of a snap and found himself going across the grass for the 21. And Peter Donchek rounds out our current runners. See if we can catch the replay here of the 21. just catches a bit too much curb, makes it onto the grass, and then has to clean those tyres off for a few laps. That's going to be a painful couple of laps for the 21. Well, we are going to throw to a quick commercial break here. While we go on, there'll be picture in picture, but big thank you to all the sponsors and all of the people looking after us. We'll say thank you to them by running a quick commercial break here.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service interests and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
And we are back, and well, as is guaranteed, I thought we would just come back when all the action was kicking off and we'd start seeing the pit stops. No, the teams and drivers have started surprising us. We've seen cars coming into the lane. James Watson's still out on track, hasn't made a pit stop yet. We saw Simon Fell coming into the lane, and that wasn't just for a pit stop, unfortunately, it was for a penalty. Has reached, I think, incident point limit for Simon Fell. Took a penalty for that one, and that's cost him a huge amount of time. Unfortunately for the 256, has dropped a lap here. Really, really unfortunate indeed. Was giving us a great battle up there with Brian Labarge, who's come into the lane with Wes Shear. James Watson in the lane now, coming in for our leader, taking his stop, just getting out now, lights up the rear tyres, gets back out on track for this run to the flag here in the beautiful Hampshire countryside down in the south of England. Some great battles going on. Luckily, could catch them all in the picture-in-picture. So always nice to have that there. Lets us keep all the action. But as guaranteed, everything happens when you throw to a commercial break. It's one of those fun things, as we apologise for that. Some kind of screen glitch there. We'll blame a dog or something like that. That's probably the best way to do it. Michael Long into the lane now with Peter Donchek coming in for their pit stops too. And Michael Long actually has a black flag as well, so it's going to be a penalty for the 21. We're seeing quite a few penalties kicking up here. That could be part of the story too. And that is that's going to be really unfortunate if we see too many of those kicking in. So drivers have to be safe. I'd say it's from just little off-track excursions and finding yourself with the little dreaded X incident next to your name, 16 of those, and you find yourself with a penalty in the lane. So very easy to make that mistake and find yourself coming into the box needing to get that one sorted. Just looking to see if my incident point count is working. It doesn't look to be, sadly. So really real shame there for those drivers, and hopefully they'll be able to get back into this race. Speaking of getting back into the race, the 86 is back out there as well. Just looking at a replay here of Peter Donchek. Ooh, big moment there coming through Seagrave, I think. And that was a big sideways moment for the 13. That's going to really put some unwanted temperature in those tyres. As I was just about to say, Drew Bernardi is back out on track. Good to see the 86 back out there, 4 laps down, but back out on track, getting some valuable and crucial lap time out there, and that will help build up a bit of confidence, of course, and get yourself just that little bit of extra confidence on these kinds of tracks. As we see here, ooh, a big snap for the 21. Michael Long there, finding himself on the grass, and that is not what you want to do when you are coming towards the final stages of your incident points. You're going to have to drive very carefully now. There is a chance we could see some drivers getting disqualified in this one if they do hit their incident point cap limit. I do apologise, I don't have the information on hand for that one. I can see when a black flag comes out, but unfortunately I can't see the incident points with my software. Up front though, it's James Watson still in the lead and looking pretty unfazed at the moment. One of the faster cars out on track at this stage, but the fastest car on track is just behind him. It's the 16 of Wes Shear, managing to set the fastest lap, a 107.196. A very decent lap indeed, and just shows that these little Indy Pro 2000s have some absolute stunning pace in them. These things are an absolute blast. I took one out last night to get a bit of a feel for this car and track combination, and it is a pleasure to drive around here. Very easy to overheat the rear tyres, very easy to lock up, and very easy to make a mistake, but that is what you want in a race car. It really does make it rewarding to drive. Absolute blast through these long sweeping right-handers. It's almost like the car is made to run on fast sweeping corners or something. But no, really, really fun car to drive around here. And say very similar to the F3 car of the classic F3 car of the Dalaras back in the late 2000s. But really good little car to learn your craft in as well before you move up to some slightly faster, higher powered vehicles. Just looking through the pack, Brian Labarge still sits in third position at the moment in the number 8. That battle with Simon Fell, unfortunately, coming to a bit of a close after Fell got a penalty. But it does just show how easy it is to get one of those quick penalties here, and many drivers could find themselves in trouble if they get another one in this race. As we go back to a replay here of Drew Bernardi, and just in front of the leader there, just runs a bit wide and decides to take the shortcut across the grass to get out of Watson's way. It's probably not intentional, but just trying to get himself positioned so he doesn't get in the way of the leaders. And very easy to get yourself an off track when you're doing that, because you get on the dirty line, all of a sudden there's no grip out there and you find yourself running very, very wide very, very quickly. We're Shear trying to close the gap still to first place. 4.8 seconds to make up. Brian Labarge trying to close the gap to second place at the moment as they hit some traffic. He might be able to close that gap a little bit, but has about 5 seconds to make up for that position. So might be a bit difficult in this last 22 minutes of the race. But as they say in motorsport, anything can happen, and it usually does. Victor Aldrich in the 98, currently sitting in fourth position, having a good run out there. A bit lonely in that spot at the moment. He's being slowly caught up by Nia Kamaho, the biggest mover and shaker of the race so far, the 59, sitting in fifth position, moved up 3 spots so far, and has given us some good entertaining overtakes as well. And moving along nicely is the 59. Simon Fell, after that penalty, has dropped down to 6th position, unfortunately. Hasn't managed to get back on the lead lap, crucially, though. So he's at least on the lead lap. Could find himself moving up a couple of positions if some people make some mistakes. Peter Donchek in the 13, moving along. One of the first car a lap down at the moment in the 13, and is currently sitting where he started in 7th position. Michael Long, we saw having to take that penalty in the 21, sits in 8th position, dropped a couple of spots in this race. And rounding us out is Drew Bernardi, coming in for a secondary pit stop, and coming back out onto track is the 86. Meanwhile, Watson still pushing up front, trying to keep this gap as healthy as possible. But Shear is closing in a little bit, slowly but surely. The last couple of laps, Shear has been the quicker car. Watson might just be in conservation mode, just not pushing quite as hard, trying to keep a little bit more tyre into the end. Not quite needing to push as hard as... Ooh, big snap there from Shear on the exit of the club complex. Almost lost it there. Great recovery, great catch on that car, because it would have been so easy to find himself in the wall. That just shows how much the number 16 is pushing at the moment, really going for it, wanting to close that gap on Watson and get himself up into the lead. Another big snap. Those rear tyres definitely getting some heat in them, and this could be the tipping point now where the 16 starts to lose a bit of time to that car in front. James Watson wasn't pushing quite as hard, just keeping those tyres nice and gentle approach in those tyres, and that could be the defining factor of this race. That could be the winning factor of this race, as Watson's tyres don't look to be quite as hot at the moment, while Shear is driving around on some very chewed up chewing gum like tyres, as those rear tyres are just overheated. Big snap coming into club as well. rear of that car is not looking planted. Has to be so careful on the throttle here. That car will snap on an instant. It is not looking planted at the rear at all at the moment. Might need just a couple of laps here just to relax those tyres a little bit. Try and cool them off. Try and get himself recentered to go back on the attack. It's never easy to get a car back into operating temperatures though when they are hot without stopping them effectively. So just lifting off a little bit earlier, not pressing the brake as hard, lifting coast as they say, could be the option here for the 16. But I'd say the chance of catching James Watson at the moment is starting to fall away for Shear, and we might just have to go into the safe-ish mode and make sure he doesn't lose any time to Labarge behind him. Wait till they come around for another lap and we'll see what the lap times are saying. At the moment, Watson last time around was a 107.5. Shear was a 108.1. Watson has absolutely switched on the pace now and gotten that car in a good operating temperature, and it is looking like it is paying off at the moment. Building that car up slowly has got the pace up, and it is settling in to be a very nice race car to take home to the finish. Looking down the pack a little bit, Simon Fell is catching on Nia Kamaho here, and that could be a battle to watch out for latterly in this race. Brian Labarge trying to close on Shear as well, but that sort of pair not really moving too much. Simon Fell last lap took about 1.5 seconds out of Kamaho, so it is an opportunity here for that position. If it keeps up that pace, will be getting into a striking distance in the not too distant future, but has got quite a bit of time to make up. Around about 8 seconds to close in that gap to Kamaho, who just has to remain calm and keep that car planted now for that 5th position. See if we can get up any more spots and see if anything happens. And something is happening at the moment, because we've got Brian Labarge coming into the pit lane. Number 3 coming into the lane here. Just looks like a routine stop. So a secondary pit stop here for Labarge, who had the time to do it. I think Labarge just decided to chuck on an extra set of tyres here and go out and see what he could do. Oh, I see why, actually. He had a big moment coming into the club complex in the last lap. Don't know if Kobe will be able to find that replay. But takes a bit too much curb, spins it around, and that will have chucked a lot of heat in those tyres. Speaking of, Nia Kamaho as well is brought it into the lane. It doesn't look like it took tyres, so might have just been a slight miscalculation on fuel for the 59, but that's dropped him behind Simon Fell. Really unfortunate there for the 59. So as we said, anything can happen in motorsport, and it usually does. You can't take your eye off 1 second, because things will change in a heartbeat. Brian Labarge out there as well on those fresh tyres. Will try and take advantage of those, but just doesn't want to get them in the same condition as the ones he had to throw off the car. It's a big old gap to close up to 2nd place. Just has to keep it mistake-free now and keep himself in a secured 3rd. Victor Aldrich is about 3 seconds behind at the moment in the 98. Could possibly close that gap if we see some mistakes creeping in from that car ahead. So Aldrich could be knocking on the door for a podium here. But remember, when Labarge's tyres come into temperature, he'll have nice fresh boots on, and that could be a hard car to pass. And see, visibly on track, they are within eyes distance of each other down here on the straight. Aldrich on some nice warm tyres here will have the advantage for about a lap or two. But now you'll start seeing Labarge getting a little bit more pace advantage, as those tyres will be up to temperature, and he will be able to use all of that grip to try and get himself out of striking distance of Victor Aldrich. Just can't afford to make a mistake here. Makes an off here, or just makes a little mistake, could find himself dropping out of those podium positions. Aldrich in a great position to swoop in on any misfortune of those lead group. Up the front, Watson still in the lead, 5.9 seconds. The gap pretty stationary around about that 6-second mark. He's keeping that gap well and truly covered at the moment to Wes Shear, keeping himself in a nice strong position up the front of this pack with the last 13 minutes of this race to go. Who will be taking victory here in Thruxton? Who will be crossing the line to see that checkered flag first? We'll find out in 13 short minutes. And we're just going to throw to ads quickly here while I regain some voice and down a lot of water. We'll be back with you very, very shortly.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
And we are back, and as you saw on the picture, we've had a couple of pit stops there. We saw Victor Aldrich coming into the lane, Vic Niakamaho and Simon Fell all need to come in for a quick splash and dash, and that explains why Labarge came in for those fresh tyres and that top-up of fuel. Took advantage of that stop to get some fresh boots on as well, and is currently setting some good pace on track. Will we see the lead pair need to come in for a quick gulp of fuel? Currently, it is James Watson, Wes Shear, Peter Donchek and Michael Long all made one pit stop in this race. So they haven't made a second stop here so far. Can they extend this to get it to the end without making another stop? It might be a little bit tricky for them. We'll see how that one works out. So we might well see a sting in the tail. It's so easy to make a mistake in pit lane here as well. Very easy to find yourself going a little bit too fast if you don't hit that limiter quick enough, and finding yourself in the wrong position if you just get the box in the wrong position. You could find yourself losing a bit of time and falling out of the crucial position as Shear is in the pit lane. P2 comes into the lane, gets the car stopped on the marks beautifully, positions the car so it can get out nice and quick, doesn't change tyres, just comes in for fuel, stationary for about 5 seconds there, and will be back out as quick as a whippet. Onto the track he comes, keeping into second place ahead of Brian Labarge, who's just coming through the club complex now. So the fresh tyre gamble didn't quite pay off for Labarge, but understand taking them because that slight spin he had would have absolutely wrecked those tyres. Question is, when does Watson pull the trigger? Does Watson need to come in for that second stop? You would definitely think so, giving the rest of the field and the pace that this number 39 has been running all race long. That keeps it out for the moment. The TWR sponsored car up in the lead. A big thank you to TWRS as well. Always nice to have them on board with their setups and keeping the cars running, and well, good advertisement for those setups with this car leading at the moment in James Watson. So as we come down to the final 7 minutes of the race, not long to go now until we will see that checkered flag and find out who takes victory here in Thruxton for this sojourn over to Europe. It's not going to be our first visit to Europe. We will be back here for Monza as well. The Monza Junior circuit will be coming up in the very near future. So plenty of action to come in the coming weeks and months for the racing. And we are going to be looking forward to that one for sure. So as we continue on for a couple more laps here, it should be about 6 laps to the finish now. We'll keep an eye on that as it ticks down. We see Watson pulling it into the lane, gets the car slowed down nicely. Will he hit the marks? That's going to be an important pit stop not to make a mistake on. Back out, Watson comes, remains in the lead. To a replay here of Kamaho there. Ooh, having to stop the car. What has gone on there for the 59? Looks like they had to tow it back into the lane, and not sure what's happened to the 59 there. So maybe some kind of rig failure or something like that for Nia Kamaho. Unfortunate indeed. We're sitting up in 6th position, and that is a shame after all that hard work getting up to that spot. So shame there for Nia Kamaho, and hopefully all is well for the driver. We'll be heading off to Myrtle Beach next time, back on the speedway, back on the ovals for the racing. And a exciting track that will be coming up with Myrtle Beach Speedway coming up on the... You have the wrong date there? 19th, I think. The 11th, where? 18th, there we go. Sorry, you have to forgive me. Easy to make a mistake, unfortunately, because we are a day ahead in Australia, which throws things out considerably when we're talking about things. Very easy to quickly get the wrong thing. Peter Donchek into the lane. Pulling it in now. The 13 comes in for a fresh set of boots and a little bit more fuel. As we're jumping to a replay here. And we go back to live. Michael Long, I think, might be coming into the lane as the final car out there to do a 19-lap stint here. The 21 winning the fuel efficiency reward, but just can't quite make it to the line on that little sip of gas left in the tank. But a nice little stop there for Long as we see James Watson just going past here, and the leader carries on for another lap. Currently leading every lap of this race so far has Watson. A very decent job indeed. Doing a good job out there tonight, and well, this will be helping extend that championship lead just that little bit further for Watson. Has been the car and the driver to beat so far in this season 9 of the Tuesday Night Thunder series of races here on National Racing Network, and yeah, really been the car to beat so far this season, taking victories in the first 3 rounds so far. Can he make it 4 for 4? Well, about 3 laps time we will find out. Where Shear really trying to not let that happen, has managed to close the gap a little bit, down to 5.1 seconds now, the gap to second place. Shear is absolutely hustling that car along at the moment, and really trying to get it up there on to that top step of the podium. But with only 3 minutes to go, it's a big ask to make up 5 seconds. All he can hope for is putting pressure on Watson and forcing Watson into a mistake here. Labarge is sitting pretty comfortable in P3 at the moment on the bottom step of the podium, but been an eventful race for the number 8. Has absolutely had to really keep that car moving in the right position, and has had some big moments so far, but has all importantly kept that car in the right position on track. Victor Aldrich running well in 4th position, up a spot from the starting point in the 98th. He's got Simon Fell trying to close the gap, but a little too late maybe, unfortunately for Fell, who fell victim to a penalty in pit lane and found himself falling out of the top 4 contention after battling it out. There's some great entertainment with Labarge in the early stages. Peter Donchek running around nicely in the 13, single lap down for Donchek, keeping that car just a single lap down and keeping the pace in there. Has done a good job so far, relatively mistake free. Michael Long in the 21 managed to extend his stint length nicely, gets the frugal driver award, but has not quite had the pace, but kept the car in some good positions, and most importantly kept it out of the wall, up in 7th position. And then unfortunately Nia Kamaho, we've lost from the race, will be passed eventually by Drew Bernardi, who had a bit of front end damage in the 86, but has kept it out on track and will be rewarded with that in a couple of laps time by getting himself up into 8th position. So we are getting down to the final minute of the race here, as we see our leader heading into the club complex another time. Will we see the white flag shown? We will indeed. Final lap of the night commencing now for James Watson. Has kept that gap, 4.7 seconds. Shear still trying to close that gap. Still has the fastest lap for Shear. So a decent job there for sure. We've seen this a few times with Watson, not quite pitting that fastest lap, but absolutely leading and keeping the consistency up. And that has been key tonight. Consistently in the 107s almost all night long. Really good job keeping that car in that sort of that realm, and that has really helped with the lead that James Watson has, and has been one of the crucial contributors to why he has led this lap from start to finish here, as he is coming through for the final time down Brooklyn Straight up towards the club corner. Just this short little moment to go, braking down for the chicane. Right, left, and right again. On to the straight he comes, and across the line it is victory number 4 for James Watson, taking victory for the first time here in Thruxton. Wes Shear will come home in 2nd position. Brian Labarge coming home in 3rd spot, coming up to the chicane, and will come home in 3rd. And we will run through the finishing order once everybody's crossed the line fully. the Simon Fell, the final car out there to do that. Never like to count the chickens before they hatch, because something's always going to happen when you start to go too early. It's always my experience that things go wrong. Simon Fell doing a good job to close the gap on Victor Aldrich, who's currently sitting in 4th position. Will be trying to get to the line and make that position absolutely secure. Just has to get through the final chicane. Up to the finish line Aldrich goes, and that is P4 with Simon Fell coming in 5th position. Let us look at the results now for tonight's race, and it is James Watson taking victory, number 4 for the season, ahead of Wes Shear in 2nd. 3rd place for Brian Labarge. 4th we have Victor Aldrich. 5th place Simon Fell. Peter Donchek comes home in 6th. Michael Long in 7th. 8th for Drew Bernardi, and unfortunately some kind of technical issue saw Nia Kamaho falling out, coming home in 9th position. Well, we are going to head to a quick ad break as we get ready to get the drivers up here to go through some post-race interviews. Make sure to stick with us and we'll be back with you very, very shortly.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
And we are back and delighted to have us up with us in the booth. We're going to start off with our 3rd place finisher. It's Brian Labarge. Brian, welcome to the booth and congratulations on P3 here at Thruxton.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Now, experience of this track before coming here. Have you ever raced on this track? Do you know this circuit?
Aside from the practice sessions I did, like right when it came out, like heard it was exciting, so bought it on release day, put a couple laps in for that, and then hadn't touched it till this past weekend. So definitely a fun track, very high speed. There was really only just one corner that I think I was struggling a lot with, and I think it was turn 5. It's the really fast right-hander, where you have to lift out of it.
Yeah.
And if you lift off in just the wrong time, I mean, you mess that up and you're costing yourself a second and a half, if you really do it wrong. So there was, that was, I think, the one corner on the whole track that really gave me the most problem throughout the whole thing. But other than that, yeah, it's a fun track.
It is an absolutely tricky corner because it always catches you out when you just need to do that tiny lift at it, and if you forget to do that, it just really catches you out. You end up going very wide, and I think we saw a moment where you just caught the grass and ended up spinning out towards one of the marshal posts.
Yes, that was terrifying, and I didn't catch very much of it at all. I don't think. I like maybe half a tire in the grass, and because that was the other hard part was. Definitely when you're following other cars, you really have to drive very differently through a lot of these corners because there is so much dirty air, and you are going to understeer off wide if you're really not careful. And that made it even trickier. So like I know that the first stint was super sloppy, and if I had to keep doing that for this, for the two more stints, I probably still would have been pretty sloppy, but. Yeah, that was a really difficult thing to do, is try to follow cars.
Absolutely, and we saw coming into your second stop as well, just a bit of a mistake heading towards the club chicane. Sort of happened at probably the best possible time that you needed to come into the lane, and you could quickly chuck on that fresh set of boots.
Actually, the first caused the second. I was not anticipating pitting there. That was just a little bit of a mistake there, because like I said, this was a very sloppy race on my part. Was not really happy at all with the way I drove for a lot of it, and at that point there, I mean, I knew at that point I wasn't going to catch Wes at all, even though I was staying, I think, right around 7.5 seconds in that second stint, just for, from mistakes in the first one. So, but I wasn't really making any progress. So at that point, that was kind of like my last ditch effort to maybe possibly try to salvage anything, and I think that spin cost me about 6 or 7 seconds, and I think I finished about 15 seconds back, so I don't think it really would have made too much difference in the end.
No, but always worth a shot.
Absolutely.
Well, a third place here tonight, a podium is always welcome, I'm sure, and it helps endear a track to any driver when you get up on the podium steps in the first race you do here as well. Congratulations tonight. Before I let you go, though, love, shout out sponsors, people. Go for it, Brian. You've absolutely earned it tonight.
All right, thank you. Family and friends, the NASA and JPL logos on the side of the car, Team Watson Racing, National Racing Network, you guys for putting on a pretty darn good broadcast, if I might say so myself. Thanks for having us out there, and hopefully we gave you enough good stuff out there to be entertaining.
Absolutely, and when you compliment me like that, then you're always welcome back in the booth. Thank you so much, Brian. Congratulations for tonight, and I absolutely hope you'll see you back here in the very near future. All
right, thank you.
Next up, we'll be heading to our second place finisher. It is the 16 of Wes Shear. Wes, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on P2 here tonight at Thruxton.
Yeah, hello again. Good to be back up here with you guys.
It's a pleasure to have you back up here. And, well, second place at Thruxton, a nice position to be in. I mean, I imagine you wanted to be one step higher, but you absolutely tried your best to take it to James tonight.
Yeah, certainly wanted that win, but once I lost the draft, it's just like looking at lap times. It's like, oh, okay, James and I are doing the same lap time down to the 10th. I don't think I'm going to make progress here. But, yeah, really fun track. It is, I believe, the fastest track we'll be visiting all season, including the super speedways in terms of average speed, believe it or not. From what I remember in my kind of pre-race calculations, we were averaging like 100 and 20 something odd miles an hour. That's like 230-ish kilometers an hour, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, it's one of the fastest tracks in Europe for the average speed, and I think it is the fastest track in Britain for the fastest average speed as well, if we don't count Rockingham when that was around in the day. But no, absolutely brilliant track for speed, and it is one of those tracks that just really can catch you out if you're not concentrating. It's so easy to make a mistake here. Did you have a couple of moments yourself?
Yep, I had a couple of moments in the middle of the club chicane, and then one or two up at Goodwood. It's such a tough corner because it's like you want to take it flat, you think you can take it flat. It's definitely not flat, except for when it is.
When you go into it, it feels like you can take it flat, and then you get on the exit and realize, no, you can't take it flat.
Yep, exactly. The one time, I think like 2 or 3 laps to the end, I actually caught the curb just about cased the bottom of the car there, and might have had all 4 wheels off the ground. That was an exciting one. It's like, oh, okay, I don't turning more here is not going to help. I'm in the air.
Always a good way to wake yourself up, getting all 4 wheels off the tarmac. Really good run here tonight, taking second place. We're heading off to Myrtle Beach next time out. How are you feeling for that one?
Really, really looking forward to that. That is one of the, if not the best racing tracks in the PM18. There is no good way around it. Therefore, you can use the entire track. You can come up with some very, very creative lines, and very much a driver's track. So, really looking forward to that.
Oh, well, we look forward to seeing that one, and good luck next time out. Congratulations for P2 tonight, Wes. Before I let you go, love, shout out, sponsors, people, go for it. You've absolutely earned it tonight with this P2.
Yeah, thanks. As always, got to thank you guys for the broadcast, and I know you stepped up late, but been doing a really, really good job at it, and looking forward to having you back next season if all goes well. Of course, got to thank Homestead Coffee, keeping me awake and alert enough to actually do any of this, particularly so late at night. Not really that late, but imagine sleeping or being well rested ever. And a shout out to Nick's Boots. They are on my feet, not quite on the car yet. I still need to source a logo for them, but if you need the highest quality boots you can possibly buy, Nick's Boots.
Congratulations. Thank you so much, Wes. Well done, and well, good luck next time out at Myrtle Beach, and we hope to see you back in the booth very soon.
Yeah, thanks. See you next time.
And finally tonight, it is the race winner 4 times in a row. It's James Watson. James, welcome back to the booth. We're going to have to name the top step after you, it seems, this season. It has been a fantastic start to the year.
Yeah, dream start doesn't even begin to describe it. I'm absolutely dumbfounded. Never in my wildest dreams would I have expected a start like this. This is now a new career high in wins in a season, and I'm not even entirely sure I've done like back-to-back wins, let alone 4 off the bounce. So I'm just absolutely astonished. And like tracks I would have never expected to win at, like Oswego and Tira especially. I was pretty nervous and hesitant coming into this one because it's just, you know, it's a track that I'm not too familiar with. I haven't always been that good of a driver on road courses in this car, so I knew that my work was going to be way cut out for me, and I did not expect this result at all.
No, well, I said in the broadcast, we sandbagging a little bit last week, saying, "Oh yeah, not looking forward, not looking forward to the chances at Thruxton." And then you come out and lead every single lap, take pole position. The only thing you missed out on was the fastest lap.
Yeah, no. When we went off air last week, I meant every word. I'm like, this is gonna be a struggle. I'm like, I could maybe end up on the podium, but I was not expecting to win at all. Like I was dead set. I'm like, yeah, if I win, it'll be a miracle. And well, miracles happen apparently.
So was this your first race at Thruxton?
Yes, it was. I only bought the track like a week ago, I think.
No, that is that just rubs some salt into everybody else's wounds, but a really good job tonight, and that's going to endear you to the track, I'm sure.
Yeah. I didn't know a whole lot about it going into it. I'd seen a couple races from Wes, but it wasn't that Wes had showed me, but it wasn't enough to really ingrain the layout and the idiosyncrasies of the track in my head. But now I'm fairly certain I kind of have an idea on what to expect with this place.
It is very much a speed demon of a track. It's one of those tracks where if you're happy to keep your foot planted, you can really gain some good time here. And tonight, you absolutely did that to your best advantage.
Yeah, and that was the big, the big difficulty is being as fast as I could on the edge and not ending up out on the front lawn, out in the big sweeper, or put it in one of the barriers. Because of the downforce you had to run, it definitely made the car a lot sketchier. So it was basically a gut check moment. Pretty much every lap trying to push as hard as you could and not die a very violent death.
You wouldn't be the first or the last for that happening at Thruxton. Congratulations on tonight. We're heading off to Myrtle Beach, as we said, next week. How are you feeling for that one coming up?
Well, I'd say what I said last week and the week before. I don't know how it's gonna go. I feel like you might not believe me at this point, but I mean it. I don't know how it's gonna go. That is one of the hardest tracks to set up any car on, so I have no idea what's gonna work, and trying to make sure I don't disintegrate the right front. Like it's a track that's very much not for the faint of heart, so anything can happen, and this is a track that's like right up Wes's wheelhouse, for example. So it's, once again, I'm gonna have my work cut out for me trying to keep pace with him and continue the streak. Knock on wood.
Well, we will hopefully see you back in the booth next week. Before I let you go, though, love to shout out to sponsors. People, go for it. You've absolutely earned it tonight with this victory at Thruxton.
Yes, sir. Gotta thank everyone at Team Watson Racing Setups. Use code WATSPIN39 for 10% off at checkout. Gotta thank everyone at the National Racing Network for always sticking with me. Gotta thank Icon Sim Racing Apparel, Boomer Button Boxes, my folks at home, and Rebecca for watching. Hi.
Great stuff. Congratulations, James. Well done indeed. And well, as I say, good luck for next week. But with your current form, you don't even need that luck. Well done indeed, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in no time.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
James Watson there, our winner for tonight. Victory number 4 here for the 39. Well, big thank you, of course, to all of the teams behind us, and of course Kobe up there in the box doing the hard work, pushing the buttons and getting that part underway. If you'd like to join, please head over to the league ID 5929 and head on over and get in contact, because fantastic racing going on for the season. And if you are interested in becoming a sponsor, just up on the screen at the moment, the details are way there for you. A big thank you for everybody joining us here tonight. If you want to catch some more, please head over to our socials, National Racing Network on Facebook, and of course make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube to catch all of the upcoming action. We will see you next week at Myrtle Beach. It's going to be an exciting one. We look forward to seeing you there. From myself, Carl Wilkinson with you, and of course Mr. Kobe Jordan up in the box. We'll wish you a good night and see you again soon. Bye-bye.